Rain hammered the highway. Red and blue lights sliced through the gray afternoon like broken glass. Hands where we can see 'em. Darius Coleman raised his hands slowly, water streaming down his face, confusion flooding his mind. 2 police cruisers. For officers, weapons drawn. I was just helping her. Turn around. Now. Behind him, an elderly white woman ran toward the officers, her voice breaking through the downpour. Wait. He helped me. He saved me. What are you doing? The officers ignored her. Metal clicked around Darius's wrists. Cold. Final. Margaret Linton screamed into the rain as they led him away. He's innocent. Please. A bystander filmed everything. The footage would go viral within hours. The nation would watch a good man get arrested for doing the right thing. And from that moment of injustice, something unexpected would be born. Have you ever done the right thing and been punished for it? Drop a comment, because what happened to Darius on that rainy highway will shake you. This is the story of when helping someone became a crime, and how one wrongful arrest sparked a movement that's still changing lives today. It was supposed to be a simple Saturday. Darius Coleman, 34 years old, automotive technician, Raleigh born and raised, was heading home after picking up groceries. The kind of ordinary afternoon that disappears from memory the moment it's over. Except this one wouldn't disappear. Rain had been threatening all morning, and by 2 p.m. it unleashed, sheets of water turning Highway 64 into a blurred gauntlet of brake lights and crawling traffic. Darius slowed his truck, windshield wipers struggling against the deluge. That's when he saw it. A car on the shoulder, hazard lights blinking weakly through the downpour. A figure standing beside it, waving, desperate, scared. Darius didn't overthink it. He just pulled over. He grabbed the umbrella from his back seat and jogged through the rain toward the stranded vehicle. As he got closer, he could see the driver, an elderly white woman, maybe 70. Silver hair plastered her face, eyes wide with relief. "Oh, thank God," she said, her voice trembling. "My car just died. It won't start. My phone's almost dead and I didn't know what to do." "It's okay, ma'am," Darius said, sheltering her with the umbrella. "Let me take a look." Her name was Margaret Linton. She'd been driving home from her grandson's soccer game when the car sputtered and quit. No warning. Just dead. Darius popped the hood, checked what he could in the pouring rain. Starter issue, most likely. Nothing he could fix roadside. The car wasn't going anywhere under its own power. "We need to get you off the active lane," he said. "It's not safe here. Can you steer while I push?" Margaret nodded, grateful, frightened, but trusting. Together, this stranger and this grandmother, they maneuvered the stalled car further onto the shoulder, away from traffic. Darius's boots slipped on wet asphalt. His shirt clung to his back. But they got it done. When it was over, Margaret couldn't stop thanking him. "You're a blessing. A true blessing. Let me give you something." "No, ma'am. Don't mention it." Darius smiled through the rain. "You call your son for that tow. Get somewhere dry." "I will. Thank you. Thank you so much." Darius nodded and turned back toward his truck, 30 feet away. Water pooled in his shoes. His hands were cold, but something warm settled in his chest. He'd seen someone in trouble and helped. Simple as that. The arithmetic of decency. He was 30 feet from his truck when everything changed. Sirens screamed through the rain. Darius turned confused as 2 police cruisers came to screeching halts beside him. Doors flying open. Officers emerging with hands on their weapons. Hands up. Hands where we can see 'em. Time fractured. Darius's heart slammed against his ribs. His hands shot up automatically, muscle memory from a lifetime of knowing how this could go wrong. What's happening? His voice stayed calm, but his pulse roared in his ears. One officer approached, aggressive posture, eyes hard. "We got a call about a car theft in progress." "You matched the description." Darius blinked rain out his eyes. "Car theft?" "No. Officer, I was helping that woman. Her car broke down. I pushed it to safety. Turn around." "Officer, I didn't." "Turn around." Darius complied, hands still raised. Mind racing. What description? What call? He'd been helping. Just helping. Black male, 30s, dark jacket. The officer said, as if reading his thoughts. That's you. That's half the men in this city. Darius thought, but didn't say. He knew better. The officer pulled Darius's arms behind his back. Metal handcuffs clicked shut, biting into his wrists. Wait! Margaret's voice cut through the chaos. She was running toward them, stumbling slightly, hands outstretched. Officers, wait. He didn't steal anything. He helped me. Ma'am, step back, another officer warned. No. Listen to me. My car broke down, and he stopped to help. He pushed my car to safety. He's a good man. The officers ignored her, guiding Darius toward the cruiser. Margaret's voice rose, frantic now, desperate. This is wrong. He saved me and you're arresting him. What is wrong with you? Traffic had slowed. Drivers stared. A small crowd of bystanders formed on the sidewalk. Phones out, recording. Darius kept his face calm, kept his body still, didn't resist, didn't argue, just survived. This was a calculus every black man knew. Stay calm. Stay compliant. Stay alive. You can explain everything at the station, the officer said, not unkindly, but with the tone of someone who'd already decided the truth. Through the cruiser window, Darius watched Margaret still arguing with the officers, pointing at her car, gesturing wildly, tears mixing with rain on her face. He watched her mouth form the words, "He's innocent." But they put him in the car anyway. The door slammed shut. The engine started. And Darius Coleman, who'd stopped to help a stranger on a rainy Saturday, was driven away in handcuffs. If you've ever been profiled or watched someone be treated like this, hit that like button, because Darius's nightmare was just beginning, and it was all caught on camera. Someone had been recording. A bystander with a phone, standing under an awning across the street, had captured the entire encounter. The push to safety, the arrival of police, the handcuffs, Margaret's desperate pleas. All of it. That night, the video went online. Title: Innocent Black Man Arrested for Helping Stranded White Woman. Within 12 hours, it had 2 million views. Within 24, it was everywhere. The footage was damning. You could see Darius's confusion, Margaret's frantic explanations, the officer's dismissiveness, the cruel mathematics of racial profiling playing out in real time. Comments exploded across every platform. This is exactly why we need reform. He was helping her and they arrested him. How many times does this happen without video evidence? Local news picked it up, then regional, then national, CNN, MSNBC, Fox, every outlet running the story with different angles, but the same core truth. A good man had been criminalized for being black while doing the right thing. Civil rights organizations issued statements. The NAACP, the ACLU, grassroots activists, all demanding accountability. Hashtag Justice for Darius trended nationally. Margaret gave interviews, her voice shaking with anger and guilt. That young man helped me when he didn't have to, and the police treated him like a criminal. I will never forgive myself for what happened to him because of me. It's not because of you, the interviewer said gently. I know, Margaret said, wiping tears. It's because of the system, and that's even worse. Legal experts weighed in on the implicit bias, the flawed procedures, the pattern of black men being seen as threats regardless of context. Community organizers mobilized. Protests formed outside the Raleigh Police Department. Hundreds of people chanting, holding signs. Helping isn't a crime. Darius did nothing wrong. End racial profiling now. Meanwhile, Darius sat in a holding cell for 6 hours before being released. Charges dropped, no explanation, no apology from the officers who'd arrested him. He walked out exhausted, angry, trying to process how helping someone had turned into this nightmare. His phone had exploded with messages. Hundreds of texts from friends, family, strangers offering support, interview requests from every major media outlet, civil rights attorneys offering to represent him pro bono. The weight of it pressed down on him. He just wanted to help someone's grandmother get to safety. Now, he was a national symbol of everything broken in American policing. The Raleigh Police Department had no choice but to respond. Public pressure was relentless. City council meetings were packed with angry residents demanding answers. Protests continued daily. The mayor's office was flooded with calls. 3 days after the arrest, the department issued a statement. We are conducting a thorough internal investigation into the incident involving Mr. Darius Coleman. It wasn't enough. Activists pushed harder. Media scrutiny intensified. National civil rights leaders called for the officers involved to be disciplined. The internal investigation revealed what everyone already knew. The officers had responded to a vague 911 call, reporting suspicious activity near a stranded vehicle. The caller, never identified, had described a black male in his 30s wearing dark clothing. That was it. That was the entire description. No mention of theft. No actual crime. Just a black man existing near a white woman's car. The officers defended themselves. We were following procedure based on the information we had. But that was exactly the problem. The procedure was broken. 1 week after the arrest, the Raleigh police chief held a press conference. We failed Mr. Coleman, he said, facing a sea of cameras and reporters. What happened that day should never have happened. We are implementing immediate changes to our training protocols, including mandatory implicit bias training for all officers and revised procedures for responding to vague reports. He paused. Mr. Coleman, if you're watching, I apologize. On behalf of this department, I am truly sorry. The room erupted with questions. Journalists shouted over each other. Activists in the back demanded more than apologies. Darius watched the press conference from home, his jaw tight. Later, at his own press conference organized by civil rights groups, he spoke with measured grace. I appreciate the apology, he said carefully, but this shouldn't have happened in the first place. And I'm not the only person this happens to. What about all the people without video evidence? What about the ones who didn't make it home? The room was silent. Change can't just be about one case, Darius continued. It has to be systemic, real, lasting. Civil rights attorneys offered to help him pursue legal action against the department, compensation for wrongful arrest, a settlement that could change his life financially. Darius considered it, but money fell hollow, insufficient. He wanted something more meaningful than personal compensation. He wanted change that mattered. Margaret Linton couldn't sleep. Every night, she saw the same scene, Darius's hands going up, the handcuffs, her own voice screaming into the rain, ignored. She'd been the reason he stopped, the reason he was there. And even though everyone told her it wasn't her fault, that the system, not her, had failed him, guilt ate at her anyway. 2 weeks after the arrest, she made a decision. If she couldn't undo what happened, she could build something from the wreckage. She called Darius, asked if they could meet. They sat in a coffee shop, the same coffee shop where activists had been planning protests. And Margaret laid out her idea. I want to start something, she said. A project, in your name. Something that turns this horror into hope. Darius listened. The Helping Hands Project, Margaret continued. Community volunteers paired across racial lines. Service work, elderly assistance, neighborhood cleanups, youth mentoring, building trust through action. She looked at him, eyes fierce despite her age. One good man tried to help me and was criminalized for it. We have to do better. And I want to spend whatever time I have left making sure we do. Darius was quiet for a long moment. Then he nodded. Okay, let's do it. The launch event happened 3 weeks later in a local park. Darius and Margaret stood side by side, shovels in hand, planting oak trees that would outlive them both. Media covered it. The story shifted from outrage to possibility, from injustice to action. This is what redemption looks like. One reporter said into the camera, as volunteers of every background worked together behind her. The response was overwhelming. Volunteers flooded the sign-up page. Black, white, Latino, Asian, young, old. People from every corner of Raleigh wanted to be part of something good. Local businesses donated supplies. Churches, mosques, and synagogues became partner sites. Schools brought students to participate. Within a month, the Helping Hands Project had completed dozens of service initiatives, fixed homes for elderly residents, cleaned neglected parks, mentored at-risk youth, built bridges one project at a time. Margaret became a tireless advocate, speaking at events, recruiting volunteers, sharing Darius' story not as tragedy but as catalyst. Darius, soft-spoken as ever, became the project's spokesperson. He shared his story at community gatherings, at schools, at police training sessions where he taught officers about the human cost of bias. This is what happens when good people refuse to let injustice have the last word. Subscribe if you believe change is possible, because this story isn't over yet. The ripple effect spread beyond Raleigh. Similar initiatives launched in Durham, Charlotte, Atlanta, Detroit. Communities across the country reaching out, asking how to replicate the model. One wrongful arrest, one viral video, one grandmother's determination, one man's grace, and a movement was born. 6 months after that rainy Saturday, the Helping Hands Project held its anniversary celebration. Over 500 volunteers gathered. They completed more than 200 service projects, changed thousands of lives, built trust in places where trust had been shattered. Darius stood at the microphone, looking out at the crowd, this beautiful, diverse, committed community that had formed from pain. "I helped because it was the right thing to do," he said, his voice steady. "I just didn't expect doing right to go so wrong." He paused. The crowd was silent. "But maybe," he continued, "something good can come from something wrong. Not because the wrong was okay, but because we refused to let it be the end of the story." Applause erupted. People stood. Margaret wiped tears from her eyes. This is the power of refusing to surrender to injustice. Darius could have let bitterness consume him. Margaret could have let guilt paralyze her. The community could have let outrage burn without direction. Instead, they chose to build. One act of kindness, helping a stranger, led to one moment of injustice, wrongful arrest, which sparked one movement for change that's still growing. Person by person, project by project, bridge by bridge. This is how transformation happens, not through grand declarations, but through ordinary people making extraordinary choices in the face of pain. Darius helped a stranger and got arrested for it, but that injustice didn't win, because people refused to let it. Darius helped a stranger and got arrested for it, but that injustice sparked a movement that's still growing today. If this story moved you, like, share, subscribe, and tell me in the comments, what would you have done in Darius' position? And what can we do to make sure this never happens again? Your voice matters. Use it. One act of kindness. One moment of injustice. One movement for change. That's the power of refusing to let wrong win.